In this tutorial, I just want to show you how you can adjust some of the default settings that are present whenever you go to make a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. So here we have just a basic pivot table in Excel. And one thing to note is that, there might be things that just might not be to your general preferences, right? For example, as you can see, by default, Excel will have grand totals for both the columns, both the columns and the rows. Also, one thing to note about the pivot table is that, might not be the layout that you want, and, so on and so forth. You might want to have default to items are repeated. And if you make a bunch of pivot tables, it can be kind of annoying to go into your pivot table and just make it the formatting that you want every single time. So to make sure it's the formatting that you want from the start, you can go to File, go to Options, and then you can go to Data, and then under Data Options, you can make changes to the default layout of pivot tables. So click on this, click on Edit Default Layout. And one thing to note is that if you just have a standard default that you like, you can actually import it by hiding the range and then click on import. And then that will it will kind of understand the settings and then do it from there. Because it didn't make any adjustments to the general settings, I can do this more manually. So for example, I can have a default to where, do not show subtotals and grand totals on for rows and columns by default. No, I don't want that. Show in compact form. Well, maybe I want it to be in tabular form instead. And if I want this to be read a bit easier, for bit display purposes, I want a blank line after each item. Or I could have all items repeated, so on and so forth. But as you can see, there's a lot of customization. So you can really kind of make this exactly what you want. You can also go to pivot table options and, edit things a little bit deeper. So have a default whenever there's error values. For empty cells, show something. You can have auto pivot, preserve cell formatting, whatever you need to make it look like the way that you want it to. Pivot table, you can have the full list short from A to Z, for example. You can even adjust the print settings. And once you get the formatting to kind of where you want it to be, you can click OK, and then click OK, and click OK again. And now, whenever you go to make the same pivot table, by going to the Insert tab, pivot table from data and range, click OK. And let's just say I wanted to have the country on the top, the product right there, and then units, and then revenue, and the values. As you can see, this is a bit more to my liking. As I adjust the default formatting, the default layout, which you don't see as much as this is a small pivot table. But as you can see, for example, there aren't there aren't the grand totals on the rows and the columns. And yeah, I hope you found this to be helpful. If you did, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching. You have a great day.